everybody. Can you hear me at the back? Cool. So sorry about the delay. We had a few minutes of technical glitches. But this is the session where we will talk about continuous everything for cloud apps on Kubernetes. Those of you, I think all of you are basically coming from the keynote, so you have heard about Kube CD. So we will peel the onion a little bit in this show, where Kube CD is powered by Jenkins X. We all heard that. So we'll kind of like look under the hood a little bit and see all the different things that we need to understand to get like the best out of it. My name is Junie. I work for CloudBees, and I have spoken at Jenkins World before about like CI/CD, domain-driven design, segregation of duties. I probably have met several of you like in the past, but I did enjoy, a lot of you came over to our booth and we gave you like live demos of Kube CD. I learned a lot yesterday from what you're looking for, and I take no offense if you say, hey, this is your story, but this is my story, so like, you know, can we get some alignment as to what works for me the best? After this show, like you're welcome to come over to the booth and we could discuss specific use cases that like work for you. So first questions first, right? How did everything happen? Like this was this whole CI/CD thing, and now like, everybody's talking about everything. We heard about economy, like continuous economy, powering the continuous economy and all that. So this is like a very, I would say a conservative view of continuous everything. The reason is this is what we'll focus on here, like for the next like 45 minutes. But at the same time, like I'll be talking about continuous governance in a theater talk tomorrow, like afternoon in the DevOps theater. So we are continuously expanding our horizon of continuous, and this is probably the most exciting year. We've been like actually getting results doing that. So continuous integration, like just a quick refresher, I'm pretty sure all of you are absolutely aware teams integrate early and often. And why is that? Like for those of us who are like totally into t-shirt sizing, small, medium, large, if you discover the defects in dev and test, it's small. If you discover them in staging, it's medium. Talking about the cost and the consequences. And if you discover it in production, it's like extra large sometimes, not even large, right? Continuous. All right, I didn't do anything. Oh, black magic, hang on. So, all right, back here. So continuous testing is when it's not the same as automated testing. It's automated tests integrated with your pipeline to be able to tell your pipeline whether to proceed or to not proceed. Continuous delivery is where everything is releasable, but could still be behind gates. And continuous deployment is where it's being released all the time, right, with no manual gates. And with that little bit of a background, I want to show you the landscape that I have been dealing with for like almost the last decade. And why is this important? I mean, the first category is the orchestrator. Sometimes you get an orchestrator, it's being called a pipeline. And yet when you take it back, like go back to your desk, you have to do all these other things, right? This is like the stuff. You have to, like, hooking up source code reports, there are artifact reports, there are dashboards where you need your results to go to. Infrastructure as a service, we have like the big players, the platform as a service. You have analytics, containers, container orchestration, and we will hone in on Kubernetes today. Audit trails, and please do not turn it off. I mean, it's a red. SAST, static analysis security testing. DAST, dynamic analysis security testing. Then the code coverages, the coberturas, the Jacocos. Then you do static analysis, sonars, ESLins, tailors, and lins. Functional testing, performance testing, unit testing, feature flagging, A/B testing like experimentation, builds, databases. So seriously, like when you actually get an output of a vendor, then you really have to work with everybody else to stitch together to get all your business use cases to work. So while this is intimidating, while this can take a lot of time, the excuse is not to not do continuous delivery, right? Like I understand there are challenges, but it's like saying, I don't want to live in the Milky Way because I'm lactose intolerant or something like that. Like it totally doesn't make sense. So Kubernetes CD, I mean, you probably have guessed by now, it's Kube CD, as we call it. It's streamlined CI/CD for apps on the Kube-based cloud environments. So essentially what this means is it's streamlined as in it's guided, it's opinionated, some people call it prescriptive, it's all good. We let you decide really if it's satisfying your use cases or not. The Kubernetes-based cloud environments are the managed Kubernetes solutions that our cloud providers are providing, and a lot of them are here in the expo, right? And I have tried to manage, set up Kubernetes with teams, and it wasn't the best experience of my life. So I am a big fan of Kubernetes, don't get me wrong, but any day I would prefer a managed solution on the cloud. And let's do our high five first. I know we'll be running into lunch right after this. In case you have to leave early, like these are the 5 main things that you should take away. This is powered by Jenkins X, even like as a prerequisite, like the installation goes through Jenkins X. There are quick starts that actually start you quickly. So I've tested them myself, and we'll see like in about 60 seconds, I could just get started, right? And that's a pretty quick start, I would say. And then the most exciting thing for me this year has been GitOps, because I've probably paid a lot of challenges, and some of it was even political, not even technical, with respect to segregation of duties, etc., which I'll go through in more detail, like in the governance talk tomorrow. But we'll see from the technical aspect how GitOps is helping Kube CD perform some of the tasks that were otherwise extremely difficult to do before. Then we look at the single pane of glass is basically a user interface. We played with it a lot in the demo pod yesterday with a lot of you. We tried several cases, promotions, rollbacks, and just opening up apps from there. Like it gives like a consolidated view of your apps, your environments, and your pipelines, and we'll look at it. Most importantly, if you want to participate in the limited availability program, please do sign up. This is a very simple link, pages.cloudbees.com/K8S. Once we get the information, we'll reach out to you via emails. With that, let's get started. If you have time to read the white paper, I would highly recommend it. There's a lot of stuff you don't really need to bother about the different commands, the consoles, etc. You'll be just fine. The white paper has all the information. And a special thank to CloudBees, because they have been investing in open source and Kube CD. So not just Jenkins X, but Kube CD too, to make it an integrated, as end-to-end as possible solution. And this is like the tip of the iceberg. The limited availability program is so that we could get enough feedback to shape the future of the product. So powered by Jenkins X, what does it mean, right? So you have Kube CD, and we are saying it's powered by Jenkins X, right? And it's all great, except there are these other things that we should talk about, the stuff. So it's leveraging the managed Kubernetes solutions that are available on the cloud. So we already know that there's GKE, Google Kubernetes Engine, that Amazon provides something, Microsoft provides something. The limited availability program, we are only accepting people on GKE. But that doesn't mean that the concepts don't apply everywhere, so we will still go through those concepts. Helm is for the charts. For those of you who are already familiar with the Kubernetes ecosystem, this lets you do the application definition, the upgrades super easily. And these are charts committed into your Git repo, so it's auditable, it's traceable, and we'll look at some of those. Skaffold, so Helm gives chart.yaml, Skaffold gives scaffold.yaml. These are all YAML-driven. So Skaffold lets you define your workflow and then leverage that workflow in terms of doing the deployments from dev or test, which we call preview here, to staging to production. Docker, no surprises. The applications will be Dockerized, containerized before they are put into the Kubernetes cluster in the cloud. Chart museum of charts, like a repo of charts. So you have these Helm charts, need a place to store them. And then there's the cloud SDKs, whichever cloud you're hooking up to. And then there's casing, for doing stuff, your local checkout should be synced up with what's in the Kubernetes cluster, because you don't want to be out of sync. And JX is basically the powerhouse behind Jenkins X. And it's a very simple, lightweight tool. It seems like it would be a big deal, but it wasn't. When I installed it, I could pretty much get started. You can go to help and see all the things that we will do. Most importantly, I think let's point out create cluster, which will use the Google project ID, and we'll go through that. Then we'll see the create quick starts, which means you can just get an application file, the Jenkins file, the Helm charts, the Skaffold YAML, pretty much the whole thing set up for you in Git in less than 60 seconds. If you have your own project, just use JX import. You don't have to go the quick start way, right? And then create add-on is where I did JX create add-on CloudBees. This is where the Kube CD part comes in. Right now it's an add-on. And then you have this environment, which I also would like to call out because some people quite legitimately raised a concern, like I have, this, like I was showing dev, staging, and production. What if your environment ecosystem is different? Please just go inside and configure. So the idea is this is opinionated for probably 80% of the people who do not need the customization. But if you are in the 20% bracket, and if you do need customization, this absolutely allows you to go in and change those. And the reason I'm going through the intricacies is so that you have an easier time customizing this for yourself. JX, the previous screen, so this one, I installed it on my local, the laptop that I'm presenting from. However, there's value in trying JX on the Google Cloud Console itself, right? So whatever your cloud provider is, if you open the Cloud Console, you get several things pre-installed already, which you do not then have to set up on your laptop. And my laptop will be different from your laptop. I'll run into a different issue than you will. So if you're running a team, you want a standardized solution for everybody, it's perhaps better to get into these Cloud Consoles. And then if you just log in, JX won't work. You need to run a couple of commands, very simple, like curl and sudo, and then off you go. You are then just doing JX like you were doing on your laptop. The Helm charts, if you define, install, and upgrade the app, they're versioned in source control and hence auditable. They make rollback stress-free, which is something we really need today, right? We have had a lot of dramatic issues regarding rollbacks. So if you see, this is the repo that's coming out, the Docker file, Jenkins file, the charts, the package, the Skaffold on the source, and I didn't write these. This came directly written out by the quick start. And you see that some of these were the charts, the chart.yaml, and therefore the preview environment or staging or production. Chart Museum, simple one, we'll pass through this quickly. It's a repo of Helm charts, open source, and then it generates the index.yaml, which is probably a favorite. And then it provides an API for uploading, deleting a chart version, or listing the charts, which is something you will have to do quite often. And this one is something I learned very recently. When I was trying out Jenkins X, I ran into monocular. So I actually am a command line person, so I'm comfortable looking at the charts from there, but I didn't mind having the monocular, the web UI as well, where all the apps that I was creating, one was in Go, one was in Node, and so far React and stuff, I could actually use this user interface and go into the chart museum to see the charts. And days when things go wrong, I would probably prefer a view like this. Skaffold handles the workflow and then leverages the workflow. This is the YAML that comes pre-built, out of the box for you. It's almost like a turnkey solution at this point till wherever I've discussed till now, literally the work done to set up is nil. Syncs files between our local file system, Kubernetes cluster, we talked about this. It's high time we stop printing these t-shirts and then making fun of it. If it works everywhere. It just doesn't work on your machine, right? This has gotten us into too much trouble. Finally, last but not the least, we have Jenkins underneath. And I have strong memories. So exactly 2 years ago, I did my first ever conference talk at Jenkins World in the Santa Clara Convention Center 2016. And I was having a whole lot of trouble with freestyle Jenkins jobs. And I thought where would be the best place to vent? I figured it would be Jenkins World. So I wrote a poem as if Yoda was talking to the butler, because the butler wouldn't listen to me. I didn't have like a high opinion of myself. So I thought if I write the poem as Yoda, maybe butler would listen. So I wrote, unmanageable freestyle jobs you've become. Pipeline you must be. Declarative, versioned, and ephemeral become you must, or the dark side won't set you free. Pipeline analytics report you must, in the groove you must get. Make happier engineers you must, don't make them fret. And as if Yoda is shining this light and the butler is like super obedient, Yoda's words. So he put 2 and 2 together, well in this case 1 and 1 together. And the one was declarative, the second one was pipeline, and lo and behold, there was declarative pipelines in Jenkins 2.0. It was the most amazing thing that had happened in a really long time. And that was 2016. And 1 + 1 = 3 really is what I feel about Jenkins X. It's more than declarative pipelines. It's automated. It comes to you for free, and we'll actually take a look at one of those, right? Like a few of those, but probably at the booth and not here. And if you're like impatient, okay, enough slides, you can go to github.com/JuniButler, and you'll see all the results of the quick starts. Not just the apps, the staging and the production too, like staging and production and Git repos too. Look at them in a second. So the quick starts are for all the popular languages, I would say, but like the Spring Boots, the Go's, Nodes and the Reacts and Rails. And we tried a few live yesterday when you people were walking around in the booth. The thing is, if you have missed anything, we would love to know. And it's perfectly okay to tell us, something that you would like us to put. Let me try. We've had some glitches, so it's probably a bad idea it's probably the bad idea to do the video. So we can actually look at this right from my laptop in a few minutes. We don't need to play the video. And when this quick start, like when this whole thing comes in your Git repo, it reminded me of the 12 factors. So I'm very passionate about the 12 factors, and I just spoke like last month at Agile 2018 about how the pipeline should follow 12 factors, not just the applications that flow through the pipeline. And code-based tracked and revision control, many deploys, is the first factor. It's the factor 1 of 12 factors. When I look at this repo, I kind of feel that this honors that principle. And that was the Go, this is the node. And see how, like in the Go repo, you see the main.go and like the Go-related files, but the common part is Dockerfile, Jenkins File, Helm, chart, Skaffold. Look at the node quick start. You see like the server.js, the package.json, but then again, the common ground where the Dockerfile, Jenkins File, the Helms, and the Skaffolds, right? So if new people were joining your team, they were like moving between projects, it's very easy to move them. And this is a business thing, not just a developer thing. Time to code is a business metric where you say, how long does it take for my developer to push the first line of code to production? And these things, like although they are not very apparent to you the first day, these things help a lot because this is a standardized view. And also everything's already in place. So the poor person, doesn't always have to figure out how each and everything work together. You can go look at the app pipelines. You still have the beautiful Jenkins Blue Ocean view. If you're attached to it, there is absolutely no problem. So someone asked yesterday, where is Jenkins in all of this? Jenkins is just where Jenkins was, right? This is like exponentially better. Like it's pulling you to a world where you develop and deliver, not just deliver. So you see the pipelines that those that are running automatically. They're creating pull requests, and they are pushing code from dev to staging to production. Blue Ocean looks pretty green here. You do see like a bypass in the first stage. These are, by the way, the default 3 stages that come out of the Jenkins file that's written automatically for you. So the first stage is CI build and push snapshot. The second stage is build and release. The third stage is promote to environments, which is like the normal thing that we do. However, at any time, if you feel you need a stage, just put in a stage, because the onus finally lies on you to build the best pipeline, like if we're made of vibranium or something. I just watched Black Panther. And Blue Ocean looks extremely red here, obvious reason, you failed. and see the bypass. So the first bypass was due to it being a PR. So if it's a PR, it goes through the straight line. I was on master, as you see here. So it kind of bypasses that phase that you don't have to do that. But at the same time, if you fail build and release, then you have to bypass the promotion, right? You don't want to push a bad artifact to production. And then, of course, like Blue Ocean Jenkins, you know, you can just go look at the logs and everything. So what kind of things could you possibly add? Do I think it would just fly for every one of you, the automated Jenkins file that's coming out? I think a lot of you will be fine, but a lot of you may have to think about stuff like, so let's say, consider a very, very simple stage, it's test, and you have to connect to some kind of a, I don't know, SaaS provider to run your test. It would be like creating a channel, or maybe like a secure tunnel, right? And you run the test and you collect the results. This is a piece that's used by a lot of people in your company, like maybe a shared library or something, in which case, if there's a network glitch and if that fails, you abort the pipeline. And that's a bit of a bummer, because if you retry, it just might work. So why not put 3 retries then? I mean, not too many, because you know, if it's down, it's down. And then also wrap a timeout, because if your tests take like 5 to 7 minutes and maybe 10 is the absolute max, then it's okay to do a timeout. And these things are customizations that you would probably do for yourself. And Yoda, Yoda said, try not, do or do not. There is no try. And here I am, not just doing try, but a retry, and that 3 times. So yeah, I mean, And then you might also want to try parallel. It does seem like a very good thing to do, and it is, and yet we don't always do it. So see a simple example. You have a security test running and a performance test running. Why not just run them in parallel? Like if any of them fail, you don't have to go to production. And even within the security test, why not just run all the tests in parallel? And within the performance suite, why not run everything in parallel, so that the time to market eventually, but the first metrics that developers deal with is test cycle time, or maybe like feature lead time. You've already done like wonders in pulling those back, so that ultimately your business counterparts will have a better time, optimizing for time to market. Powered by open source Jenkins X, quick starts, we kind of look at this. Now comes my favorite, and we are doing okay on time. What is GitOps, right? And first, take like 30 seconds to think about the 10th factor in those 12 factors. And we all kind of take it for granted, like dev staging and production have to be identical. There has to be parity. But we know that, but yet somehow, for some reason, it doesn't happen. And I've modeled a very basic pipeline, right? You have components like building, you have unit testing, static analysis, and some of these could be done in parallel, like I said. Deploying, running functional, contract, security, performance tests. You're doing blue-green, maybe everything's fine, so you dial all your users to green. You do some A/B testing, maybe B has a better business value, and then you just flip a switch, and then B goes live. Very, very simple model. Why does dev staging and production go out of sync? I feel there are 3 reasons. I mean, correct me if you have more or less. So first is time. The time it takes to go from the left to the right is exorbitantly high in some cases, because we are holding back. We are trying to make something perfect. If you're trying to make something perfect, it's already too late if it's perfect, right? You have to hit the market. I mean, we are not talking about this. We actually are doing it. The Kube CD, if it was super perfect, we would have released it long, long time ago. But we are doing limited availability at a time when things are changing for us in the morning to evening. And this team is a fast-paced team, like a very bright team. So they use Kube CD to actually like dog fooding, right? I mean, at its best. So we kind of tend to like churn a little more at this time. And that's okay, it's not perfect. And that's exactly why we need your feedback. So going from left to right immediately is really the valuable thing, not to hold back and then chew on things. And because if you do find out something, you can always do the needful. The second I feel is personnel, because there are different kind of people working on the left versus the right. There's nothing wrong, except you may have been raised with different belief systems. Your KPIs may be being set to conflict with each other. Maybe developers are, their KPIs are like go as fast as you can. Operations KPIs like just do not have downtime, so they're trying to slow everything down. And that's a kind of problem. Sometimes it's technical, sometimes it's political. But that is definitely one thing which gets the environments in different kinds of shapes and sizes. And then tools. Ops tools cannot be used in a QA environment. QA tools cannot be used in dev environments. Dev doesn't know what a QA tool looks like. And release engineering tools and infrastructure tools and platform tools. And so I'm extremely confused. Like there is this engineering pipeline, and there are engineering tools, and they have to be the same. And we just discussed like the whole Kubernetes, all the ecosystem, the best of breed tools that we discussed. They apply for all the environments that we are defining for ourselves. So right now we have defined the preview, the staging, and the production. And think of it like you have the same charts, means in the code base, you're just differently configuring them. And then when it's okay for preview, you are merging to master. It goes to staging automatically using pull requests. You approve your pull request. So make sure, we are not saying it's one end-to-end headless run from the left to right, because that is a violation of segregation of duties. But there are pull requests. They are fairly automated, and then the same chart base, and then you do the version upgrades. You do JX promote from Jenkins X, or we'll actually do from Kube CD. You have the promote, and once it gets promoted, you have a full traceable and auditable pipeline. And then beneath the scenes, as we already saw, you have Jenkins, like the pipelines, preview, staging, and production. And these are environments, your namespaces in Kubernetes. Staging is a Git repo. If you've already gone to the github.com/junibutler, you've probably already seen the staging repos have their own Jenkins file. It's that auditable. It's that automated. And it just flows. It validates the environment as its first step. Then it updates the environment with the version that you chose. Boom, you are in staging. And it's not like nothing could go wrong, but there's a minuscule chance of things going wrong at all times. But at least you have a fair idea, right? And you have this pull request. So this is an example of a pull request in production. This is like a Go app, the 14th version is going. You can actually go look at exactly what happened. So you're trying to promote Go to version 0014. So you say, okay, who merged the commit? 9 days ago, one check passed, and then pull request was successfully merged and closed by who. And you're being told you are on a feature branch, and this branch can now be safely deleted. How cool is that? Like, you know everything. You don't have to be on top of everything. If this is happening like at midnight, it's fine. Like you'll be fine coming into work the next day and making sure things were fine. And the production Jenkins pipeline looks extremely similar to the staging Jenkins pipeline, where you see validate environment, you update the environment, and that's it. Like you can absolutely go look at the logs and see exactly what happened. And then you have GitHub to show you what the status of the pull requests. With that, let's pull up a little bit of if you can see it. How am I good on time? So this is the Jenkins instance. Let me see if I'm logged on. How am I doing on the Wi-Fi? All right. So what we talked about are right here, and we are happy to pass you these instances. If you want to play around, it's just fine. So these are some of the quick starts. I was just doing like a video, the one that I didn't play. It was the DWJW video. If you go, you see the various pipelines that ran, and these were all automated. Like these were part of the demos yesterday. And then you go to the node, and those are your pipelines, and then React, those are your pipelines, and we did Spring Boot for someone. So while you could actually go dig and just look, I'll just pull up GitHub for you. And inside of GitHub, you can, let's say, just look at any of the quick starts. Probably doesn't matter. And you see all the repos that like the entire repo that we talked about. This is the Jenkins file that came automatically, and it has 3 stages. You see the CI build and built-in push snapshot, you see this is what I was talking about, that there was a conditional for a PR. So my branch was master, kind of bypass that, right? And that's the beauty of using declarative, and then you can use conditionals. You can do the build and release. This is all done for you. You can happily go add anything else that you have. And then of course the promote to environments. And the main.go is here, the scaffold which we saw is here, the charts are here. So you can play with this Git repo as much as you want, but the one that does absolutely blew my mind are the staging and the production, because the others I kind of had some fair idea, but I absolutely love this, where look at the staging Jenkins file, and it's very simple. These are all simple. You already saw the pipeline, the validate environment and the update environment. So the production pipeline is very, very similar, in the same. So you can go look at all the pipelines, you can go look at Git, but the focus today is you get to see all your teams in one place. And if you click on this team, the JX team, this is where we were in the demo pod yesterday. We were creating applications. If you go let's say go DW, JW, you see all the activity that happened. You see the pods, you see the commits. I think I was very curious to see how the commits would shape up. And then you can do this for each of the apps, whether they are in staging and production. And if you click promote, so you could do JX promote from the command line, you'll be typing, right, 0.0.14 -env is equal to production. Everything is great, except when there's this, crunchy deadline. There's the potential of typos. I would prefer that we promote through this UI. I've been there, a simple typo caused a bit of a mess. And 003 to production, at least you know what you're doing. You may not want to do it, and then if you have done something, you can go here and actually roll it back. So these are all, so what's going to be done behind is what you would have otherwise done, just a bit of it, in a dramatic fashion. So rollbacks can be very stress-free. And also, if you're in doubt, so you go to view app, and what is in production for my Go? It says, okay, hello from DW, JW, DevOps World, Jenkins World 2018, and SF. And then what was in, let's say before I promote, what was in staging? Okay, it's okay. So it's pretty much the same thing. So should I promote, should I not promote? Go Jenkins, okay, I see all the stuff. And when I go to my view app, it says, are you coming to Nice? This is San Francisco, next month we have a conference in Nice. And if you have a view app here, same stuff. So if you have React, or if you have Node, you can actually go here and see what's the version and what's happening before you actually do the promotion. And then of course, you can look at the pipelines and then go look at each of the pipelines. You have these things to play with. Not everything is in a hunky-dory position, because you do understand this is limited availability. But this is the right time for you to get your hands dirty and provide feedback. Because once everything is baked, even a bug gets to be called a feature, right? And nobody will go to the design board to redesign everything at that time. So this is a great way to kind of focus on whatever. And since we still have time, I quite don't know how this will work though. We can just start a quick start. It will just come at some point. But what we can definitely see is I have JX installed. So that's not something I'm doing. And I think I want to show you something else, which is the Google Cloud console, if it comes up quickly. Yeah, there's a decent amount of Wi-Fi. So this is the project ID you will need when you run JX create cluster. And this is literally the only thing you need. So you'll have to have this set up to first run JX create cluster, and then you need to enable the Kubernetes Engine API or something like that. And so I've already done that. And then I've already gone ahead and installed JX, which is the command line, depending on. So the video that didn't play, like don't put too much thought into it. So we have another video like uploaded to the Kube CD landing page. You can actually look at all the beautiful icons that I have. So we have quick starts for Go and Node and the Python and the Rail and whatever it is that you can think of. Not everything is perfect, so bear with us. But let's just say just click Node and Node. This is a live demo, so let's time ourselves. It's 11:53. So do you wish to use Junie Butler as the Git username? Why not? Because we are already there. Would you like to initialize Git now? Yes. Commit message, live demo. And then you see your Git repo being created, and it's asking which organization, so my personal or my company, so I'll just say, personal for now. The repo name can be Node Live Demo, it's perfectly fine. And it says it's creating that repo. So just keeping me honest, it's 11:54, right? And I wasn't bluffing. So 60 seconds, and then I go to GitHub, and look at what happened. So it's not in my pinned repos because it just got created. So Node Live Demo, updated 17 seconds ago. So all this came in like less than 60 seconds. If I wasn't talking, it probably would have taken less. And you have exactly the same things that we've already walked through, right? No surprises here. Like you can go look at this. But what's beautiful is if I go to my Jenkins X installation. So I go look at pipelines, and Node Live Demo has just started to appear. It's starting to run, and depending on the condition of my quota remaining on my Google Cloud, it's going to run, and then of course this conference Wi-Fi. So give it some time. I don't think it'll take a whole lot of time. In the meantime, you can go look at these logs, and maybe I'll come back to this once let me finish the presentation in the meantime. So we covered the single pane of glass is like this consolidated view of apps, environments, and pipelines. And for the limited availability launch, it's only open to users of GKE and GitHub at this time. There's pretty much no other restriction. And hopefully, we have a lot of handouts and stickers at the back where my AV friend is. You can take as many stickers as you want, and with all the handouts. Please do sign up. We do appreciate your feedback. The video is on this Kube CD page. If you go here, you can just get the video on the landing page. You can see the value propositions. You can have the preview links and everything. So sign up, and then if you follow CloudBees on Twitter, then it's probably the best way to get updates as to what's going on with the program, what are the updates, what are the changes. And with that, I do hope I see you at the booth and at Nice. And this is the third time in a row I'm doing Jenkins World, and I really appreciate going on this journey with you for almost 1 decade now. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon.